Next session, I would like to invite the chairpersons, Dr. Sudhir Kalan. Dr. Kalan is the chairman of Minimal Access Surgery at Sir Gangaram Hospital and chairman of SOCHM in Healthcare Council in India. And Dr. R.K. Mishra. Dr. Mishra is the director of World Laparoscopy Hospital in Gurgaon, and he has robotic as well as laparoscopy training centers in India, Dubai and US. So we have a very interesting debate, and I would hand over the stage to both of them for taking it further.
Thank you, Vivek, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to have a very interesting debate. And after talking full day about the advantages of laparoscopic surgery, we are concluding to ask a very relevant question as to whether does it make an economic sense to buy a robotic system and whether you should do robotic surgery or not. And I'm glad we have the right panelists for this, two brilliant endoscopic surgeons, two brilliant entrepreneurs who have their own centers of excellence, by Dr. Palani Velu and the Zen Super Speciality Hospital by Roy Patankar. And I'll ask these both the bright, shining endoscopic surgeons to tell us what is their own opinion. And I think let us start with Dr. Rai Patankar first without wasting any time, because we have a presidential address at 6 p.m. to give us his opinion, why he feels that it does not make an economic sense to buy a robotic system. Over to Dr. Roy, please.
Right. Yeah. Audio? Roy, unmute.
Where is he gone?
Network problem, so exit over.
Right, try to speak. I think it is coming. Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming. I think Roy is checking his bank balance to see how much money he got.
Can you hear me, sir?
You always check.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, we can hear it.
And you can see my slides as well?
Oh, yes.
Great. So I think I am the odd man out in this session, the only avid laparoscopic surgeon among a sea of robotic surgeons. And Dr. Palani Velu is somebody I respect enormously. I have learned a lot of my laparoscopic skills from him to the extent that when I wanted my father-in-law operated, I took him from Mumbai to Coimbatore, but I got a laparoscopy done, not a robotic surgery done. A lot of my laparoscopic skills. Sir, it's my privilege to stand opposite you. To the extent, I will start by saying the laugh because I am different. I laugh because they're all the same. I'm going to offer you nothing but simple facts, plain arguments, and common sense. This is my disclosure slide. As a hospital and a hospital entrepreneur, we have carefully evaluated. Ladies and gentlemen, I wear two hats. I am a passionate GI surgeon, but I'm also an entrepreneur running a total of 215 beds in Mumbai, employing about 450 people. As a three areas of interest to invest our money: near infrared imaging with ICG, 3D laparoscopy, and the third was robotics. And the consensus among all of us was clearly that robotics is simply not worth the while for us. In this session, let me quote Amish Tripathi: "There is your truth, there is my truth. As far as the universal truth, it does not exist." The sages clearly mentions the advantages of robotics, which have been discussed in this session quite arguably. There are, however, problems. There is a lack of outcome data. There is a huge capex. There are disposable or limited use instruments. There are expensive CMC costs, repairs, OT setup, docking, as well as the time taken. And I'm quoting this from the sages paper. There is simply no data that robotic surgery decreases the time of surgery or decreases the length of stay, has no effect on intraoperative blood loss, postoperative pain, or complication rate in any GI surgery. Let me be very clear. I'm not referring to urology, cardiovascular surgery, abdominal wall reconstruction, but there is no artificial intelligence. There is a lack of haptic feedback, and there are mechanical risks. Please don't compare me with Dr. Palnivelu, sir. It is like comparing chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. He's the finished product. So please, I don't want to debate, sir, on this. I wish to point out the FDA data published in the year 2016, a retrospective study of 14 years. And this was the key taken. And there were a total of 86 deaths reported as a direct consequence of robotic mishaps. And this could include surgeon staff mistakes, patient history, inherent risk complications, and during and after the procedure. This is the curve. I don't want to, there was things like system errors, problems, video imaging, fallen pieces, and broken instruments. So these are very small number, I agree, compared to the overall number of procedures being done, but this data is simply there. There are two questions every hospital owner or entrepreneur or a director of surgical services need to answer. Whether it's Dr. Palnivelu, whether it's Roy Patnankar, whether it's Sudhir Kallan, who heads medical access in Gangaram. Why do we need to buy this piece of equipment? And what happens if I don't buy it? To me, ladies and gentlemen, there is simply no economic justification to buy a robot. There is no medical need in GI surgery. I agree, robotic prostatectomy is probably the only surgery that confers definite value. Of course, there are surgeon needs. There is less fatigue to the surgeon, there is better ambidextrosity, there is more 360-degree rotation, all those are fine. But there is no economic story and there is no medical story can discuss this. To buy something, we need to actually look at the numbers. Look at the asset cost. The capex is between 3 and 5 crores. There is an interest cost. There is a cost of CMC, which in the case of at least the Da Vinci system is very high. There is a downtime. There are consumables. There are surgeons who keep the instruments attached to the robot for days together to avoid the cost of the instrument. That is not a justification. When we calculated, our payback time was 57 months, 20 cases per month. And this was considering that we were only going to charge 35,000 rupees extra to the patient. It is possible this may change. As an entrepreneur, I need to look at the IRR, the NPV, and the CAGR. I'm sure many entrepreneurs in this audience will accept what I'm saying. Is there an exclusivity in the market? Will having a robot drive other business to me? If you look at the website of all the American GI centers, you will find the robot prominently displayed because they feel the cost of the robot is offset by other work. The liver resections, the Whipples will compensate for the other things. What will matter in our situation is, will the insurance sector give cashless approval for this? And there is a move by the IRDA to cover robotics, hasn't come yet. Are we going to get paid extra for the consumable cost in this? Various questions. There is economy-based medicine and there is evidence-based medicine. This session has clearly told me that this is economy-based medicine, where once having bought an expensive robot, every hospital management is after surgeons to pursue robotic PAPPs, robotic AWRs, robotic splenectomies, thoracoscopies. So it is nothing but a commercially driven, hospital-driven model. The insurance or corporate cover patients get robotics done for even simple procedures, which I find difficult to justify. Clearly, there is a marketing benefit to the corporate, but very little patient benefit in this. If you look at LAR, which is probably the only surgery we talk about, there is simply no data that injury to nerves, sexual function, quality of life, or the infertility changes. There is no data saying this. We must carefully compare the cost, the one-time cost, the running cost versus the benefit that you want to get. I understand I'm the lone man in this robotic hall to counter this, but I'm always worried about surgeons who say they are not scared when they ought to be. Is this going to be a proverbial white elephant? And I've never developed indigestion from eating my words, as Winston Churchill said. This is the proverbial elephant in the room, or rather may I say, the white elephant that you may want to buy. Ladies and gentlemen, I still feel that this is going to be isolated Dr. Palnivelu in a crowd of many talented laparoscopic surgeons who should and can acquire a robot. I am quite happy to drive Alto. It takes me from point A to point B. I give excellent clinical outcomes to my patient at low cost, low morbidity with excellent quality of life. I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Dr. Mishra, a brief comment and please introduce the next.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, Prani Galu, sir. And thank you, sir, Sudhir Kalan, sir. Actually, in my opinion, the technology is always neutral. It is up to us how we breathe the moral and ethical life in this technology. In my opinion, robotic, of course, you are correct. Dr. Roy, it is correct that it doesn't have any benefit in the simple surgery, but it is a beginning. It is a beginning, and in my opinion, in the future, it must have its own role. I think it is the same thing which was there with the laparoscopy 20 years ago. But now laparoscopy is almost replaced the open surgery. So, in my opinion, the surgeon like Sir Palanivellu, robot cannot be better than him. But for new surgeon, budding surgeon, who wants to do the advanced surgery, robot is required. But it is my personal opinion. We are using the Da Vinci from 2010 itself. And it is, I will not say it's a piece of art technology, but yes, it has the potential to grow. Thank you. Now the next speaker is, who is the next speaker? Sir, I have to take.
I'm
Dr.
Palanivellu.
Dr. Palanivellu is now going to tell us why we should buy the robot. And just for the record's sake, Roy, you don't drive an Alto, don't tell me that. And an Alto is not safe on Mumbai. Okay, so you drive a, so it is a question of I think opinion, and if Dr. Palanivellu is bought a robot, I am quite sure he's going to justify it also. Over to Dr. Palanivellu, sir.
Yes, Kalan and Mr. My friend Roy. And Roy, I have not bribed them. Huh? Both of them have started supporting me even before I start talking. I didn't know R.K. Mishra is supposed to introduce me. He started talking in favor of me. Anyway, I take it lightly. It is all, of course, it is a friendship. That is. Roy, I know, very surprised. You are an entrepreneur. You are earning so much. Then why do you want to go Alto? No, you should buy Benz and go. No,
Yes.
You're an entrepreneur. When you're making money, you should enjoy your life. There is no point of earning and making it. And I'm a scientist. I'm a surgeon, practice surgeon, and I want to extend a little more. You are equally much more than me. You are a good scientist. I don't know why you became totally entrepreneur. You should also, like scientists, have to look at that. Okay, right. Some points you given me, and I think look at. And it is not that medical practice, it is only making a money or viability. We are not corporates. We have to look at as a science and talking about. And see, I'm going to give a small information about clinical outcome of surgery, minimizing complications, avoiding laparotomy, because laparotomy and minimizing surgery is totally. You and me, we are laparoscopic surgeon, no doubt about it. And moving at a new technology, improving the standard of practice, we always have to look at any way we can. It is laparoscopy is not that cheaper. It's no. Today, all disposable energy devices making you laparoscopy also same costly. It is not. So any new technology comes, is it laparoscope, robotic, or anything, and we have to see it should be a sustainable. It should be a clinical use. I agree with you. We are not just putting money into a just ditch. We have to make it up. Otherwise, there is no meaning. If you use robotic, you have to use selectively. I will not go to 5-star hotel having a cup of tea every day. It is not possible. That way, I think we look at our aim is improving the patient outcome, reducing hospital stay, early, fast recovery is most important thing we are looking for. That's why we are all introducing laparoscopy, robotic all. You all know laparoscopy when came, it was considered high-tech, high cost in the Western countries, and all because of company driven. But we Indians, that's why world always looks at India. Indians made a laparoscopy surgery affordable cost. Even remote place, if you go today, they are all able to practice this. Unless until the science reaches a majority, we cannot consider it as a success. And the American side, the company influences much more using disposable, all the disposable. That's why cost. We are not worried about. We use a reusable trocar like a German technology, suturing instead of clips, and technique wherever new. Even the innovations we could do in India, that means possible. Same way, cannot keep quiet with the laparoscopic. We also have to move ahead and comparing this. So complication rate, conversion rate, adaptability, learning, quality life, I all agree it is both laparoscopic, robotic, same. And no doubt about it. But second thing, and see, very popular, even remote places, I shown me and Kim, yesterday Kim talked about the colorectal same meeting. I showed both of us shown a live in 2000 on at international conference. Why still majority of getting open only? It is not everybody getting laparoscopic surgery. Okay, fine, going. Why this? This is because of limitation. Laparoscope cannot be adapted for every basic, very fine remote places all doing it. But what happened to the procedures which are not been taken by laparoscope? So open, laparoscope, robotic, if you look at, now between laparoscopy, you look at that digital interface become the patient and surgeon, that we have to use it. In analog becoming a digital now. And the new technology is going on, coming. We have to look at that. So this, we have to avoid laparotomy, whether use laparoscope, robotic material. But why, if it is laparoscopy is not possible, that means you have to look at. I agree with you, robotic program, I wish every hospital should have. But economically, it is not sustainable. I know that's why it is not possible at this stage. But big capital investment per case, as you said, I agree with you. It is very costlier. But one thing we have to appreciate, intuitive, though it is a single monopoly company all these last 20 years, technology development so nice. And today something we have to appreciate. But now we have a CMR, robot, Medtronics, Korean already it is doing it, but outside not available. So one day we wish it is going to lesser cost and maintenance, disposable, all will come like a laparoscope. When laparoscope disposable trocar they used, when we didn't use it, we can change something. Why not we Indian people make them? So robotic assisted surgery, it is to improvise our precision, accuracy, and wherever laparoscopy not accessible, we have to approach. And that's why I wish every hospital to have. I need not say that these are the more important advantages compared to laparoscopy. Most important thing is still laparoscope 3D is not that effective like robotic, and 360 maneuverability is cannot be possible in laparoscope, and it is a surgeon control. Even the most complex surgery, you want to do it, filter trimming much more effective can do it. And all these benefit, I agree. In fact, both laparoscope, robotic can have all these equally. But still, I think I may not have time. I'll skip out this video. Hey, something is, and here, something, there are certain clinical, I'm sorry that the laptop is something blocking. I'll talk by the time we'll let it back. So there must be a certain indication like cancer, for which if you want to do a gynae cancer and a rectal cancer, if you can preserve the nerve function better than laparoscope, that is most important. Disability, functional disability, we can. Organ preservation in pancreatic, the robotic has shown much more. And the duct mucous anastomosis Whipple operation, again, it is a smaller undilated duct, it is safely can be done. And the biliary anastomosis, now they have shown that hepatectomy with biliary reconstruction can be. Esophageal, recurrent now. So a lot of things are there, and it is, you have just said no literature available. It has been yesterday, today, tomorrow, Koreans, we are discussing colorectal robotic. There, all this been disputed, and everybody is talking only robotic that way. But one thing I like to tell you, you have to move to robotic today or not tomorrow at least. Why no? Those days people used to call, whenever they go to, I got operated in this hospital because of the hospital name. Later they used to call, I operated so much, so and so. So the skill of the surgeon was respected. Later, everybody laparoscopy started doing, everybody said, I'm laparoscopic surgery, got it. Their doctor's name also went out. Now, here, not even, it is not too far people going to say, I got robotic operation, I got robotic operation. Because that today in India, there is no system, marketing, the corporate so much, and we have to move, otherwise that laparoscopy will become secondary. We have to learn both, then only it is possible. India is not a poor country. We have the richest forest. So even you look at minimum economy, those people itself robotic you can do viable, and particularly compared to you and me, You can do wonderful at robotic surgery in Bombay. You can much more make than me. I'm doing a charity work at robotic surgeries because that's why I shifted to Chennai. But still, I'm very happy that I could do something in cancer better than laparoscopy. But wherever laparoscopy is not possible, cannot ignore that group. It is a beginner or it is a selected indication. One has to minimal invasive in order to avoid a laparotomy. Specific indication already mentioned, even not urology I'm talking about, even our own GI cancer, we have a lot of things to do in minimal invasive because the technology is very helping us to do it. So advantages, it is a more ortho resection possible, particularly in pancreatic cancer, and this is where, and functional preservation, very important, rectal and the esophagus. Anastomosis leak, if you can do perfect anastomosis robotic, that makes you difference, particularly not every anastomosis, delicate anastomosis surgeries. A complication robotic is coming down. The learning curve, you cannot look at that way. This technology, it's not possible to introduce laparoscope. Augmented reality, artificial intelligence, 3D print, real imaging, it is there. This type of liver, 3D print to have beforehand surgery a day before, workout simulation, okay, exact location of the tumor, if you go do appendectomy, that makes a difference. It is going to be navigation surgery, is going to be future surgery, we cannot ignore. And particularly look at the future perspectives like ASP, single port surgery, laparoscope failed. And we did everything. In fact, Western people accepted, but still Indian people are not ready to take up single incision, difficult perform. Even initial robotics single site also did not wake up. Now today I saw the right anti-resection, right hemicolectomy, SP port, Korean showed single port is going to become much more. So that's why we have to look at, open our eyes to look at this. Single port surgeries, we can see all one trocar, 4 instruments, including camera possible. And measures, it is success economy, it's not by one individual. It is hospital administration, insurance policy. Today, insurance may not give. Laparoscopy was not given Japanese government 15 years before. 16, your all work, Japanese government gave insurance for 16 laparoscope. And instruments now started giving for robotic instruments in Japan. Koreans still with Taiwan becoming popular. Why? Because patient driven and it has to be soon. So we have to be very careful working out. These are the impact studies by Canadian. You all know Walter Gottlieb. He has done this complication with 26 hospitals in Canada joined together, they did, and the complication rate is less. And in fact, totally eliminated. So you look at from 2012 in Canada, no laparoscope or this, all robotic. Laparotomy gone totally. So this is where the future we have to open, keep your eyes look at. Not only that, if the volume is not there, we have to spend more because of capital cost. The last point to look at, it, in fact, it is slowly coming. When if you do 250 cases, in fact, it is cost saving according to Canadian study. It is not made, it is published articles I am quoting you. And look at that hospital budget, it depends on the case load and driven. It is way it is possible. And it takes time. It is not that today it is possible. So robotic surgery is again medication use less and learning curve. I agree. People, a lot of cancer surgeons and today in India, GI surgeons, they don't want to go laparoscope because it's difficult to learn. They are suppressing laparoscope so far. Now started going to robotic, they can learn better and faster. That's why this one point we have to look at, and to make a robotic program affordable, learning, this is where we have to interdisciplinary, multiple team. It's not one individual surgeon doing it. So I ask you, so if you do you think that we know enough? Do you think we have achieved optimum? We deliver. I consider we are all surgeons, we are scientists, we are evaluating a new techniques, we improvising technique. It will take time. So it is like, and when you reach the end of what you know, you'll be at the beginning of what. From my angle, till today, any operation I go, I'm learning. So I do laparoscope, robotic, and I do sensibly, majority of cases, laparoscope only, but selected cases, if I do better than laparoscope, I'll do it. That's why we have to, because if you don't join, today look at, this is where I have to think, promoting laparoscope in the beginning. Now again, look at you, Roy and everybody is again laparoscope. I don't know how I'm going to develop it. This is what Sapporo in Japan, French fellow went and taught the Japanese, we must be ambitious and progress. So scientists, surgeons, we are in the same category. I wish that future minimal invasive surgery should be promoted. Whatever technology comes, we'll make affordable to our Indian people. It is economically viable, provided we make it according to the frame. Hope I will have a yes, Roy.
Yeah. Roy, you can quick rebuttal by you.
Sir, just an interjection.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In fact,
Good 20-25 minutes for discussion because the plenary session is delayed by 10 minutes.
Great. Good.
But I a lot of things. Okay. Anyway,
So we will talk about so many things. Good. Roy, your rebuttal, please.
Yeah. There are several things that struck me when Palnivelu sir was speaking. In fact, let me remind you, Dr. Kalhan, the topic of the debate is buying a robot viable for a hospital? Let me quote Palnivelu sir. He made a statement saying it is economically not sustainable. He then said that robot for him in GEM is charity work. He also quoted, and I quote, unquote, one day it may be viable. This is exactly what I'm speaking. There are two things. There is science, there is surgeon comfort, and there is making money. I wear two hats. I'm a passionate surgeon. I want to do everything that is new. I learned notes. I started doing single incision laparoscopic surgery. But that doesn't mean that doing something new is progress. Ambition and progress should not be confused with robotics. I was one of the first to go to GV Rao to learn notes. We did notes appendicectomies, note cholecystectomies, and in 2014 stopped doing them because there is no benefit to the patient. And mind you, there wasn't a big cost involved. I was first on the bandwagon and single institute. I was doing SILS sleeve gastrectomies, SILS nephrectomies, but I've more or less given it up unless the patient demands it. So let us not confuse science, marketing, and making money. They are three different things. When they coexist like they do in laparoscopic surgery, I will follow it. Sir mentioned, sir, can't afford to have a Mercedes. I would much rather invest in a high-end 4K system. So it is not a necessity for me to achieve my goals and deliver outstanding patient results. I want to use near-infrared imaging. I want to use image-guided surgery. I want to use 3D laparoscopy, all of which I have in my two hospitals. This is a clear area where commercial interests and companies drive surgical policy. They will sponsor a session like they're doing today. They will have paid lectures. Sorry, I'm being blunt, but let us get to the root of this debate. Is it economically viable for a hospital to buy a robot? And as Dr. Palnivelu, I'll end by saying what sir said, one day it may be viable. I am waiting for the Korean robot. I am waiting for CMR to come down in prices. I am waiting for Medtronics to bring their robot. And maybe next year I'll argue in favor of laparoscopy when the robot is costing 1 CR. Thank you, Dr. Kalhan.
Hey, Roy, very nice. My slide is, I put it straight away, said, that statement is not true. My slide itself, you ignore that word, not true. It is economically sense. And not sense, it is not true. So, okay, fine anyway. And I'm certain things, wherever I look and slip, you took it that as a plus point. See, it is today, if you want to make it entrepreneur, make more money, you can't make it more. For example, if you take it a pancreas, liver, and Ko Wakabayashi, you all know, extraordinary talent, who did the first robotic hepatectomy, is not doing robotic for liver surgery. He says laparoscopy is good. That is sense applying it. But he says, 2 days back, we had a web Zoom meeting. He says, Palnivelu, pancreas, people, I do robotic because I'm not able to perform. See, such an extraordinary surgeon says, I'm not able to do work with the SMA and the portal enclosure. I'm well comfortable robotic. See, that way it is a selective indication increasing. One day it will come, the majority of the indication will become much more. That's why I say, today, Palnivelu can do 100. I'm not rich enough to do robotic. And that's why I'm telling. So 14-year-old girl came all the way Delhi, in Coimbatore also. They said, we want a robotic surgery. Kindly do it. I did a robotic people, the youngest in the world. That day I can do it, I did it. That's why I know that is possible. Second thing is, certain things you cannot duplicate by, say, big stone. Whatever weight you can lift. If you have a rod, you can lift up with a weight. If you are very smart, sensible, put it a small machine underneath, come back, put a button, it will take it off. That way, this our skill will be enhanced by the machineries. We cannot ignore certain machineries. And the car, we need to look at the tire and how to drive. This is where people still learning curve. Laparoscopy also is still not learned by everybody. Robotic also is not learned. Most of these people they were talking, literature is not. I know your skill. I know that way you are doing it, but I'm doing it from our own concept, both as to promote it strongly in indication. Today, still 50% of the cancer is not touched in India for laparoscopic or robotic. But too much we are talking. We don't have data. So we have to come data. We have to speak about. Nothing to say this is robotic, everything. If I have to do it, if I say today I'm making a wrong statement. So like Air Asia and Indigo become very popular by economy. Similarly, in surgery also, minimal invasive laparoscopy is more popular. It's going to be the popular. Nobody can replace it. But robotic also equally is developing it. For selected indication to do it, it is. That's what I said. We should not look at an economy book-wise and banking account. We are also promoting science. You have to do it. There, if you today, if you do, first 1991 when we started, people said, no, it is not going to be viable. It is not based. Investing is too costly. Today, either you are comparing laparoscopy cheaper. After some time, again, they will come. Companies is coming, it will become, and Indian skill, they're talking too much. Why not we make it some way it is? And Indian government becomes a changing now insurance policy. And soon, I hope, and it may not be like a American side, a stupid way they're spending money, but definitely we'll have a sizable way to do more clinical work, my happy. That way, I think in future it will be.
Another thing, yeah.
Yes,
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Another thing, Roy, medicine can never be pure commerce, you know. Medicine can never be pure commerce. And again, I would say that as centers of excellence, whether it is your center or Dr. Palanivelu's center or Gangaram Hospital, we also have a sense of responsibility in training our next generation. See, today maybe robotic bariatric surgery might not be really necessary for a sleeve gastrectomy, but tomorrow when we start getting revisional bariatric surgery and we require more precision, maybe the robot will be. But if we don't train our present generation and make them future ready, I think we will not be doing a task. So centers of excellence must teach an average, I'm again saying not an exceptional, but an average surgeon how to do good open surgery, how to do good laparoscopic surgery, how to perform endoscopy, and how to do robotic surgery. So that's how we conceive it when we have running an FNB program in Gangaram Hospital. And I think Dr. Palanivelu's vision is also like that. And we will be actually failing him in our task if we don't make our younger generation future ready. So please don't talk only about commerce. I mean, as chairpersons, we are not allowed to make sides with either side. So I am just trying to give my own opinion. I feel strongly about the training of young surgeons, you know, as centers of excellence. If they have not seen a robot and tomorrow after 5 years, robot becomes relevant, we have not done justice to them. So it's not that as if robot is not relevant in the present circumstances. You see more and more people are actually shifting to robotic surgery, and maybe today in India it might not be relevant. Maybe who knows, tomorrow it might.
The economy, the word is not a cost. Economy reflects the entire society.
Absolutely.
If you suppose you treat a cancer, if you are reducing recurrence or resection rate more, that is a big economy for India. If you do a hernia, if you do it without a recurrence, and if you make the patient to go faster to routine work, this saves the economy. It is not that hospital expenditure taken into consideration. That is one factor. That is no doubt robotic is costlier. But overall, if you put it, that we have to look at the minimal invasive, the economy saving for a country. Yes. But unfortunately, Indian government or policy is still not understood. I think recently I saw that government, some policies coming like all of you, the way you have to work with the government making it. That is a very specific, you know, something. If you say training economically, if it is not viable, then how can we train also? Training also goes with the same way for society's benefit. If a society's benefit must reflect economy and their quality of life. That is very important. That way, I think we have to give respect both. Because just I spoke, I will not say robotic and laparoscopic equally has to be taken together. In fact, laparoscopy will be a higher percentage next to another almost 5 to 10 years.
Yes, Roy. Please don't talk about EBITDA margins. Please don't talk about EBITDA margins.
Dr. Kalan, whether you like it or not, I don't work in a charitable hospital like Gangaram. Neither I work in a corporate hospital. I need to pay the EMIs as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So whether you like it or not, face it. The debate today is, should hospitals buy it? So economic viability is important. I am all for the robot. Let me be very clear. I'm not against science. I'm not against progress, like Dr. Mishra said. I'm keen to have the robot when it is economically viable, or when science tells me that I can deliver better results with a robot. My concept is, we have trained so far 150 fellows in laparoscopic surgery who are practicing in the villages and taluka levels. Dr. Palli would have trained 2,000 people. I have trained only 150 fellows who are working in the periphery of India. So is this a technology that we are going to spread to the nook and corner of India? Is this only for the Apollos and Gangarams and GEMS? It is for every village, every taluka. Tomorrow, a laparoscopic cancer surgery is done on a taluka level place. For me, that is a success. Not a robotic ventral hernia. I am not against robotics. Please let me clarify. I am sure in time when it's economically viable, I will also buy. I'm like you. I like every new toy that comes. I want to learn new techniques. I want to learn new technologies. But I also need to pay EMIs. I don't work for a charitable institution like Gangaram. I don't have a general ward which is free of cost. Dr. Pallivelu does so much work free of cost in GEM. I can't afford it. So let me be very clear. I am not against science. I'm not against progress. I'm not against robotics. But today it is not viable for a hospital like mine. And training is, I would rather train people in laparoscopy oncology than train people in robotic surgery. Let me be very clear on that. My priorities are different, sir.
Right. Yeah. There is no doubt about it. I'm also not a charity man. I'm not Gangaram like I can. It is my own earnings. I'm a poor fellow, poor surgeon. That's why I'm taking poor people into consideration. Truly telling, that is a fact. You know, if I look at budget, as you say, economy, what is the hospital? I will not. I can't do it. It is not possible. That's why what I agree with your statement. That is more important. That's why we all start a debate like this. And the chairperson has got a little more influence in the government. They should work for it to bring it acceptable. That's what I today just have to know whether I like it robotic or not. I have to speak. But technology I cannot ignore. Technology is not going to. If you want to buy a robot only at the time of it, it's everybody says yes. That day you will become the last. You don't take it this way. You look via media somewhere, not do delay. Somewhere, if you think mine works out, go ahead. And I'm for technique, science, or the poor. I can do. That's why robot has not earned me, but I'm doing a charity work for the people. Just because of cancer, which I can do more curate. Yes.
Wonderful talks from both the sides. So my idea, I would side with Dr. Patankar on many things which he said, because the idea of bringing this debate was whether a hospital or a practice can actually, afford a robo in these particular circumstances. So as a corporate hospital, multi-specialty users, like we do more than 300 robotic surgeries in Gangaram every year, and it makes it much more than beneficial. But it is because a lot of specialists are using it. Now, as an individual hospital, and why did we have Dr. Mishra and Dr. Palaniwelu? Because they have bought a robotic system as an individual, as a center, while Dr. Patankar, having all the ability to buy it, has not. So the idea was to bring out the economic aspect of buying a robo. I think the concept of using a digital platform in surgery is something which everyone would agree to, especially the dynamic surgeons which we are having in this panel. But if we just consider the economics, it is there is a huge amount of disarray between the potential and the application. As we see just 75 installations of Da Vinci platform in India right now. So yeah, this is just wanted to make that comment to bring out why did we have this debate. What do you say, Dr.
No.
What is your economic thing? You have been having this. You were the first one as an individual to buy a robot in India in 2011.
Yes, I will tell you the truth. I am in loss every month 10 lakh rupees to sustain the robot. Every month 10 lakh rupees I have to pay from my other income to keep. So that way I am agree with Dr. Roy that it is a white elephant. But
now voting for Roy.
Yes, sir. But I will tell you one more thing, that once Dr. Roy will buy it, he will also start speaking in favor of robot.
No. See, can I come in? Can I make a point? I'll talk about, as chairman SOCAM, there were a lot of discussions on national healthcare policies. And in one of the discussions, sir, it was decided that we will take a fiber cable to all the villages. We will give a smartphone to all healthcare workers. And there were a lot of hue and cry, why so much money should be given to healthcare workers to buy a smartphone when there's not even enough money to feed the centers. But see what that has done. When we have taken the technology right to the doorsteps of people, now all these healthcare workers are connected digitally. So any national program that you want to do, those healthcare workers through their smartphones can actually, update data. We can send them data. And, when the villages have this, we can now start giving education to small centers. We can impart all the immunization programs, all preventive aspects. So sometimes, spending on technology may not bring down immediate benefits, but you have to see the long-term benefits of technology. So I would say that technology today might not be making it viable for small centers, and we are never saying that every center should buy a robot. I mean, we have to everybody should not be traveling in a Mercedes, but then anybody who can, it makes more sense because it is safer to travel on a Mercedes on a road. So,
Dr. Kalan, may I make a comment?
Yes, please.
I think your simile to me does not appear correct. Let me give you an instance. In the city of Mumbai, we have 9 robots. Only 1 robot is breaking even. All the others, like Dr. Mishra, are white elephants bleeding the owners. Number 2, if I was wanting to spread science, I would spread the art and science of laparoscopy and endoscopy. This is what we need at an affordable cost at district and taluka level. There are 3 medical colleges, government medical colleges in Maharashtra, which have placed orders for robot at 9 crores. In the same hospital, they don't get retroviral drugs, they don't get staplers, they don't get balloons, and they are buying robots and consumables. Where is the logic? I think people like you should take up the key that endoscopy and laparoscopy goes to periphery, not robotics. Robotics for the elite.
No, so with that logic, India would have never spent money on a satellite.
So the elite should do robotics. The Gangarams and the Apollo should do it. But the training you're talking about, message to the periphery is endoscopy and laparoscopy.
Yes, absolutely. I agree 100% with you, Dr. Roy, that when it comes to smaller centers, government hospitals, where so much other things are demanding, of course, the benefits and advantages and disadvantages of buying or investing in a robot must be evaluated. But at the same time, I would say that there have to be centers in major cities and other places, in educational institutions, where it is important to have a robot.
I agree.
It is important to have a robot. It is important our future generation tomorrow, if they go to a conference in Germany or this thing, they would say, "What is this? You have never seen a robot. We don't even know what is a robot."
So sir, in my slide, if you show, there was a slide of surgeons. In the middle, there was one man holding a robot. I think the Gangarams will exist.
So once in a while, Roy, take off your other hat also. Keep that side. Don't count only the financial aspect. And I think a person like you should be buying a robot.
All right, sir.
Yes, Dr. Palani, will you like to sum up?
No. Sum up is all. I already concluded saying that
absolutely.
Roy and me will be shaking.
Yeah, absolutely. No. We all agree that when you have limited resources, we have to see how best you can utilize that limited resources. And Roy, you are 100% that. But when the resources grow, you have to think about the future. You have to think about the training. You have to think of the nation, and you have to see how we can be progressive. Every time, if you don't, surgeons are supposed to take decisions which sometimes might be reckless. You might just come back and say, "Oh, I took a wrong decision." But then that's how a surgeon is. And if a surgeon does not experiment with new procedures and he will remain in the same place. And Roy, you have done. I mean, you went and did notes, and we all know what happened to notes, and we all did. We did single incision, and then we decided, "Oh, we not spend so much time."
I should have come to Gem Hospital to learn notes. Single quote. When the American surgeon went off from Bombay not even without giving a talk. That's why sometimes new science, good science, will not become popular when there are too many people, start suppressing. Single port, and this is, forget about nodes. Single incision laparoscope is one of the best things that have been promoted, because failure of nodes, single incision was not taken up in India. Would have been, but still we are doing. And bariatric surgery, that is still undergoing here. And young ladies is still coming, I want to have my gallbladder to only single incision. We are doing it. They are very happy about it. So this is where certain good technique also will not become popular, not because of technique is failed, it is because of the circumstances who brings out the first and making it up. So that's why suddenly if you say corporates and cities can have robot, their advertisement, they were going, and rural people will have to send the patient and keep him quiet. That is the biggest problem today in India. Marketing strategy is with the corporates, not with Indian surgeons. You run a corporate hospital, you need to be a doctor, you can advertise. But if you are a surgeon running a hospital, advertise, legally you will be bounded. No, you are this. So Indian today medical policy is, I think, very difficult to go through, but you all can do something. Make it up. This is very important. It is not technology alone. Along with that expertise, skill is more important. I think that way you all have to work out to help us.
Absolutely. I think the time's up, and we had a
by Dr. Mishra, and still, and then we can close the session.
No, sir, what I was telling that at least all of us who has the robot, they should raise one.
All of us, how can we have it robot without you have to pay the money?
No, sir, that I am not saying. I am saying all of us, including Dr. Bindal, who has established the CRSA, and you, sir, at least we should pressurize the company to at least decrease the CMC. CMC is a big problem, because their cost is huge. So at least in developing country like India, they should decrease the CMC charges. So this is my request to all of you.
That is what CRS is going to do, sir. That is, I think, very important to have an association, so that we can together tell the grievances and the problems as a nation what we are facing.
Yes, that's why I am telling Dr. Bindal to raise voice that they should do something for this CMC. This is a big problem.
I think with the competition coming in, we are going to see decrease in charges, and all of us agree that the recurrent charges with robot, including the disposable cost and the maintenance cost, is a huge charge, not just the capital cost. So, yes.
Maybe the number of usage also they should increase or anything. Because
I think so. So, can we close the session now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kalyan.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice.
Malivali, sir, thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Very nice.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you so much.
But yesterday I enjoyed your eye surgery. I saw wonderful, and both surgeries I saw yesterday.
Thank you, sir.
I couldn't comment it because I'm out of that. No, it was in this one. Very nice. Particularly the redo you did it.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. From you, it's a big thing for me, sir. For you to say it.
Thank you.
It was very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Kalyan, Dr. Bindal, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Mishra.
Bindal surgery and robotic, he demonstrated very. And
absolutely.
Beautiful surgery today morning, Vivek. Very good.
See, that is what we have done by creating Vivek Bindal, our young, the importance of training a young surgeon to become a robotic surgeon. So I'm proud of Vivek Bindal because he's a product of our institution.
He did today. I enjoyed it because I have colorectal Korean as well as Romania hernia. I have to look at each three alternatively seeing it. So 2 days, first time 24 hours my mind was there.
Great.
Early morning and the Romanians late time. Enjoyed. But that meeting also very successfully conducted.
Absolutely.
Okay, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to the organizers.
Everybody is bye.
Bye-bye.
And we look for plenary session lectures. We look at.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Bye.
Thanks.